What's your name and where are you from?
Is Michelle Dawson, and I'm from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C.
What's your favorite memory from childhood?
Yeah, I couldn't have had such a wonderful childhood without my travels to North Carolina. My mother's been in DC since she had me, but she's from North Carolina and went to college at Fayetteville State, which is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My dad is originally from Washington, D.C., and they met in college. And fortunately, my mother, um, took us to North Carolina multiple times each year for us to visit with family and, my mother, my grandmother, and um, aunts, uncles, and my cousins. And it just was such a um, fundamental part of me being who I am, having, living in the city, but then having my times of being in the country and just being carefree, um, having a ball with my cousins. I would cry every time it was time to leave to come back home. And so I really value that time and I wish I had more free time to do that now. I feel like years could go by without me physically spending time with my cousins like I used to, and I do miss it.
As a 16-year-old, what was one of your goals and where did you see yourself?
At age 16, I think the main thing on my mind was um, I guess preparing for the SATs so I could get a good score and get into a good college. So I could make lifelong friends like my parents and also meet a husband while I was there. So at 16, that's what I was thinking about. Making lifelong friends and finding my husband in college. That's all I wanted. Like I felt I would, you know, the rest of my life would just be perfect if those things would happen. At least that's how I thought at age 16.
What are you most proud of accomplishing?
I would have to say, right now at the stage where I am, I'm at a crossroads of trying to figure out, am I going to retire or work a few more years? And, in thinking about retirement, it's like I'm looking back over the span of my career and I'm like, wow, wow, I really did it. I mean, when you start out and you look ahead, you're like, I'm never going to finish. I'm not going to make it to the end. And here I am 21 years later, having served that amount of time on active duty in the public health service has to be one of my greatest accomplishments. I made it to the rank of captain, which is not very easy to do. And I'm really proud of that and the office program that I'm working on. I've really gotten it to be a place where everyone is proud to say they have worked. People are always calling, wanting to know if I have any openings. And, being able to develop an office where I have skilled professionals working that allow me to take time off, that are working just as hard as I am. It is a very big deal. It's not something I take for granted or lightly. Um, just to have, developed this program and leave a legacy behind showing that Captain Dawson did this. This is her legacy, and we want to continue um, working at the level of excellence that she's created. So that is just something that I'm really proud of.
What's something that you've learned recently that has changed your perspective?
I have learned that everyone that's clapping for you isn't really happy for you. You think that you have people in your corner and they're there, but for their own selfish reasons. And you have to learn how to professionally handle situations like that and keep your eyes open. But I think for the longest time, I was probably um, more naive to that fact that, that there were people who didn't really like me. Like, who wouldn't like me? I'm a great person, right? You would think that. But, there are some haters. And as much as you would like to think they don't exist, they do. And you just have to learn to operate still in grace and professionalism despite negativity around you.
What's a piece of advice that you've received that has stuck with you throughout your life?
It is advice, but it's something that we all know. And my mother always would say, treat others how you want to be treated. And I think of that in almost everything that I do. Um, and that's what has helped me be that leader that everyone wants to work with. Um, I recognize that we're all human. I don't treat my staff like they're robots. I'm one of those people that make friends with the security guards and the janitors, and I treat everyone with respect. And I just life just works out for me. Not that everything is perfect, but when you are a good person and you have a good heart, people are more willing to work with you on, just about anything. And, whether it's your neighbor, they could be doing whatever. And if they're bothering me and they're loud, I'm not going over there banging on the door. It's just like, hey, let people know how what they're doing is impacting you, and they're more likely to make adjustments. So it's just about treating people with kindness. And that's most important all the way around in whatever you're doing in life.
Looking back over your life, if you could talk to your 16-year-old self, what would you say to her and what words of advice would you give her?
Well, I would definitely tell her to slow down and enjoy today. Like I put a whole lot of pressure on myself, trying to get to, you know, the 10 years from now type thing. And it's like when you are so focused on that, you miss what's going on today and enjoying what you're supposed to be enjoying as a 16-year-old. But I know, you got to have a little bit of both. Um, but I think that, people look back and say, oh, if I could go back to high school. No, I do not want to go back to high school. Never, ever, ever would I want to do that. It was cool, but I think had I enjoyed it a little bit more. I mean, I did. I had fun, but I think it was just the pressure of preparing for adulthood that was a lot. But I would also say, don't focus on the husband part. Of course, that did not happen while I was in college, but I definitely made lifelong friends that I will treasure forever. But I do have lifelong friends from high school as well. So, I did water that friendship garden then, and I still do now. Um, you know, when you're growing up, a lot of people don't treasure friends, but your circle makes you who you are as well. I think that I did a good job of surrounding myself with positive people who had like minded goals. So I don't have any other advice on that front. I have to credit my mother for that as well. She made sure that I didn't hang around any riffraff. She was not going for that. Um, so just grateful that I was obedient. I didn't give my parents too much trouble going growing up, but at the same time, just allowing a little more time for fun and just enjoying being age 16 instead of being focused on turning 21 or 25. So I think that's important too.